Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 23rd of October. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which broke that line of support there, 74.60, and below that we were fearing that we would need to test 73.70 support, which we've done. We're below that, and so really not really leaving anything else apart from the floor of that falling trend channel from February. 71.50, which I'm hoping will be the low for the autumn, and then we'll bounce back from there for the Christmas festivities. So that is the plan. In the meantime, an end of day close back above 73.80 so delays the pain, and to get out of the pain that we're actually in, we need to get back above 74.60, 74.70, etc. Moving on to the DAX, which in a way was a leading indicator on the misery that we've got at the moment. Unfilled gap to the to the downside rather through 15,000, and the old October initial support there, 14,900. Seems almost impossible that we will avoid 14,450, the old March floor, and one could even pencil in the 13,800 low of December. So not a good look there at the moment at all on the DAX. The thing that might stop or limit the downside is the way that the RSI is now at 29 in the oversold territory, and we haven't actually been oversold in that way, I think, for a long time. I think probably back in early 2022, so that would not be a great look for the German stocks. Moving on to the Dow, and here you can see that it's almost inevitable that we will hit 33,000, which is the floor of that rising trend channel from the autumn of last year. Below that, looking for perhaps a test of May support, 32,600. But at this stage, hopefully that will be the worst that we see, even though, again, we've got the horrible chart pattern there. It's a bull trap head and shoulders with the two shoulders on either side, the June-July ones and the August-September ones, and then that failure at the 50-day line. So when you tend to get that sort of build up before a move down, it tends to be quite a painful one. If you're looking for the worst case scenario at the moment, it is probably the line I'm going to draw, which is basically the floor of a broadening triangle down to 30,500, and that was been in place since November last year, so that really would be quite painful for people in the market. Moving on to a happier situation, which comes in the form of Bitcoin. Here we've broken above 30,000 in a decent way. We had V-shaped bull flag breakout, so breaking out through that 30,000 level and above 30,000, looking for 34,000 at the top of a rising trend channel from back in January. It looks as though people decided that crypto is currently a safer place than fiat, which maybe one cannot blame them for that. Finishing off the majors with gold, and here you can see that we are trying to push higher above a rising 200-day moving average at 1945, and that broken May resistance line looking for 2050 as soon as the end of next month, and hopefully a bit sooner. It's been a long time in terms of having a proper sustained move through 2000. Seems absolutely ridiculous. This market should be double the price or even more, and probably will be quite soon. Moving on to the stocks, starting off with African Pioneer, which I interviewed this morning, and Colin Bird very pleased for some reason this morning, which he should be, because of the deal with, or the announcement regarding First Quantum and the exercise of two options on licenses. Here above 1.8 pence, looking for the top of the range, really, up to 3.5 pence by the end of this year. So hopefully the latest news will deliver for African Pioneer. Moving on to stock which is helped along by the situation at Bitcoin. Here we've got a potential broadening triangle base at Argo Blockchain. Obviously the share has been in the wars over the last 6 months or so, but here we've got a broadening triangle which has its peak there at 12.25 pence, and we're looking for that while we're above the 50-day moving average at 8.4 pence. Let's see if the charting works there. The RSI pushed back above neutral 50 for the first time since July, which is a win. Moving along to Caracal, and signs of a turnaround here. We've got a falling wedge formation there. We've bounced off that multiple times on the support area, 0.18. Got very strong bullish divergence, which is also helpful after the bear trap from below the February support there at 0.19. And that leads us to think that above 0.23, which is where we are now, we could head up to 0.37, perhaps by the end of next month, if we can get that pesky prospectus out, maybe even if we can't. Moving along to Good Energy, which has been a rocky ride, but looks as though it's resolving in favour of the bulls. We have the run up to a golden cross there, 50 and 200-day moving averages both rising. The initial target here up towards 260. Above 260, we're looking for a late 2021 resistance line projection at 320, perhaps as soon as the end of this year, and maybe even sooner. Upside valid while we hold above the old April resistance at 235 pence. Good news today from MetalsOne, and here you can see that shares coming off a very oversold RSI around the 4 or 5 level out of 100. That normally means that there should be a turnaround, especially when there's some decent news. And the view now is at above 2.8, looking for as high as 5.6 pence by the end of the year. If you're fussy, I suppose you'd be looking at a line of resistance that I'm drawing at the moment. That's running through around 3.5 pence. You'd want to see that break before assuming that 5.5 pence plus was on its way. The next contender is one of the best rises that we've had over the course of the summer, and maybe with the latest news regarding India, we'll see an extra move to the upside. I thought actually today's announcement was better than the Boots one, but the shares only up 7%. Maybe there's more to come. Rising trend channel there for Optibiotix from back in July, above 25 pence. We are looking and have been looking for 45 pence. And looking for that by the end of next month, especially if we get an end-of-day close above the late September resistance at 29.5 pence. So that's something to factor in. Orcadian is next, and there was lock-in news for the company. That's caused the shares to bounce off the old September resistance there at 18 pence. Above that, we're looking for 26 pence initially, and then up to as high as 40 pence. As soon as the end of next month if we get off the ground after the latest news. But key here is probably being on the right side of 25 or 26 pence first. On to Plexus, another summer winner, and here a very similar chart to that of Orcadian, bouncing off the old September resistance there at 18 pence. Above that, looking for 30 pence as soon as the end of next month. One of the biggest rises at the end of last week was Quantum Blockchain, and maybe hands up for anybody or the people who actually understand what the RNS was about. But here we've broken a line of resistance there at 1.9 pence. Next target 2.4, hopefully by the end of this month. And then by the end of next month, maybe up to 3.2 pence as the company goes down its SaaS route. One of the stocks mentioned in my interview with Quinton van der Burg was Shaka Minerals. And here you can see that we've had a double bounce off a rising 200-day moving average at 8.5 pence. Above that, looking for the top of that rising trend channel from back in December as high as 17 pence to be hit as soon as the end of next month. The reason for that relative optimism is the way that the 200-day line is now rising well. On to the last two. First one is Skinbio Therapeutics, and the picture here of bear trap rebound from below recent support around 20.25 pence. Above that, we're looking for the shares to make progress within a rising trend channel from back in May as high as 35 pence to be hit by the end of next month or even sooner. Once again, we've got the 50 and 200-day lines rising. That gives the chart a very good look. Moving along to the stock of the day, which is bagged actually more than that earlier in the session, up to 8 pence, the peak. Currently around 6 pence. Interestingly, the low of the day, 4 3/4, was the old 2019 peak. So we found support at old resistance, and ideally we stay at that level or above. Obviously, we've got the chance of retesting today's peak. And the best case scenario at the moment, on a technical basis only, would be that we would hit that line of resistance from back in 2018. That's heading towards around 10 3/4 pence. So maybe that will be the target for the end of next month. I did say before the target was for 4.5 pence by the end of next month, given the 14 pence mooted offer for the company. We have a few interesting days ahead, so it really is a bull market kind of offer. And we haven't had one of those for a long time. But as I said, the key here, holding 4.75 pence and at least heading up to 8 pence initially for the stock. Finishing off with a stock which is not quite as exciting as Upland, but maybe one day it will be. Got the progression within a broadening triangle by Windar Photonics. We've broken out through the old August resistance around 41 pence, and above that we're looking for 70 pence as soon as the end of next month, or perhaps even sooner, given the way that the 50 and 200-day moving averages are both rising. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.